welcome back. Here we have a second video, this time using the acrylic glitter of the week, the lovely Tabitha, and again I'm also going to use one of the fairy dust, the glitter of the week. In this design I will be using Tinkerbell, but I'm not going to be using her until the design is all capped and filed. So for now I'm going to pop her to one side. I will also be using the Tabitha gel polish. I just, I couldn't leave it all out. So in this design, obviously we're using the colour of the week, the beautiful Tabitha. As I said, it's sort of a off-white green. So white base with a little touch of green. It's very pretty, lovely for spring. So that is our acrylic colour of the week that I shall be using. As always, I have got crystal clear acrylic because I don't do designs without crystal clear. Just move that across. I am also going to be using a touch of the blush cover acrylic. This is up there as a favourite of mine with Rosabella. This is a slightly more peachy pink as opposed to a pinky pink. Really pretty, and I thought it would go nicely with Tabitha. And then finally in this set, from the recent Whispers of Spring collection, I am going to be using Callie, which was this lovely green flaky iridescent. And then obviously, as I said, we're going to use the Tinkerbell fairy dust at the end. So I am working on Liza, my red iguana hand. On this design I have applied the Gems extra long coffin tips, and I thought for this design I'm going to keep them at full length. I've been doing some slightly shorter designs where I can recently, but I thought for this one I want to keep them nice and long. And I'm also using the Kate, which is the number 10 acrylic brush. So I'm going to start off and do my thin clear base on all of these nails. So I'm just applying this mainly to the nail bed. So on a client, this is sort of where the natural nail is. This is so that natural nail is protected when I come to do a redesign. Obviously I don't do that on here, but just keep it. And I've just brought it up over the tip, just over the join, so I've now got a nice and smooth nail. So let's do thin clear base on all of the nails and then we'll get into the design. Now we had a green for colour of the week with the gel polish a few weeks ago with Leah, which was that beautiful colour changing colour, and whilst she didn't have a matching acrylic colour, this week doing sort of my gel polish designs, I was trying to do designs that were different because obviously it is another green, but I didn't want to have sort of identical designs. And even when I was trying to come up with some of my acrylic designs, I was like, oh, but I don't want them to match what I've done, or not match too much what I've already done. But with these colours and glitters of the week, sort of coming up with so many designs that we are going to have ones that are similar, I think. But anyway, quite like the one I'm going to do for this one. It's quite a nice little springy set, I think. So that is the thin clear base down, and now I'm going to get started with the fun stuff and use the actual colours and the glitter. So this is quite a simple set. I'm going for ombres on all of the nails. I'm just going to pop my lid on clear because I don't need that for the moment. So I'm just going to start off on the pinky and also on the index finger. And I'm going to use Callie. I'm going to place her at the cuticle, and then I'm just going to sort of feather it down just to that sort of that base nail free edge, or on a client the natural free edge. So this is a glitter acrylic, so it is already mixed with clear acrylic, but I've still worked a little bit wetter with this bead, so that I have time just to tap it in around the cuticle, get it nice and neat, and then I'm just sort of feathering the front of that bead down the nail. I think I'm just going to add a little touch more because it is a long nail. And so on these two nails, the pinky and the index, I'm going to do this and then Tabitha from the tip and just ombre it over. If it was a slightly shorter nail, I would have done it so that the glitter sort of stopped here and I just had a tiny little band just at the cuticle, but because it's quite a long nail, I thought I'd just come down a little bit further with the glitter. And this is a really nice one from the new Whispers of Spring collection. We had a couple of flaky mixes in there, and I love how when they hit the light they just slightly different colours, sort of pick up some pink, even a little bit of lilac. So, you know, they're really nice glitter mixes, and I love shards. I know I've said that a few times, but I love shards. Just patting it down as well, pulling down where I feel I've got a little bit of bulk because I don't want a thick cuticle, especially as I'm going to need to encapsulate this because it is a glitter. So just pick up second bead, and then I'm just sort of feathering it down. So what's going to happen is part of this glitter is going to be sort of underneath the colour, but as I start to feather it, the colour back, we'll start to see it, we'll see some of it sort of through the colour, but not all of it. Moving on now, and I'm just going to start the middle two fingers. In fact, what I will do is just pop the lid back on there because I've finished with that one. So on the middle two fingers, I'm going to do Tabitha at the tip, and I'm going to be doing more traditional ombres. So Tabitha colour at the tip, and then I will do blush at the cuticle and blend that down. So this is what I was saying in the earlier video, how, because they are sort of a white base with a little touch of green. They're quite nice if you wanted to do sort of a baby boomer or more of a traditional pink and white, but you just wanted something with a little touch of colour, because they're not in your face colours. They are still, you know, they are almost white, but they've just got that little tint of colour. You know, on camera with my light, it probably does look more white, but I can assure you it's not. And I think it's also these particular ones from this collection. So there was Tabitha, there was May, and there was Dolly. You know, I think they'd also be nice for sort of spring bridal nails, where you just want something simple, but maybe not white. You want to bring in a touch of colour, sort of from bridesmaids' dresses or bouquets, or even because one of the colours is similar to this was May, which is slightly blue toned. You know, you've got your your something blue there, and it's a very soft blue. So I think they're really, really pretty colours to work with. I'm just going to add a little touch more here because it's just that little bit. I haven't quite got the full coverage at the side walls where I want it. I'm just blending that back just where my sort of that base nail free edge is. Again, that tip's coming out the nail. Just painting it all on because we're going to have to encapsulate the nail. And I'm going to do the same on here. So I've placed my bead just on that sort of that base nail free edge, and then I'll flip my brush and blend the back of the bead back towards the cuticle, and then I can then blend the cover colour, so in this case blush, nicely over top of that. I'm not going to have sort of bulkiness, I'm going to have a nice smooth transition. And now I'm just taking the rest of that bead to the front of the bead and painting it down the nail. Don't need to worry about sort of pulling it down the nail so I've got structure, because this is the design portion. We're not doing apex or structure at this point. This is just the design, and it's all going to be encapsulated. So I've placed another bead towards the tip, flip the brush so I can blend it into what I've already done, keeping those sides nice and neat as we go. And now I'm just going to start to bring the rest of that down the nail. Until I've got full coverage at the tip. Again, we can just flip the brush just to blend it back if you feel it's a little bit lumpy bumpy. Just smooth it out, and there we go. So I'm going to leave those two to set, and then I will come back and we can place the blush cover powder from the cuticle and blend it in. I'm going to work on the pinky and the ring, pinky and the index, sorry, and finish those two off. So as I said, I'm going to be using Tabitha on these. So I'm going to place my first bead. I've not got a massive one, but I'm going to place my first bead where that glitter has finished. I've left a slight gap. And then I'm going to flip black back and blend down. Gonna then start painting the rest of that product down the nail, and where I wasn't quite happy with that blend, I felt it was a bit too solid, I've just made my brush a little bit wetter so that I could just fade it out slightly. So I've got a little bit there where I'd like it to be slightly more covered. So picked up a little bead. Now I'm just going to blend it back. It's quite a wet bead as well. There we go. There we go. Just wanted to make sure I had a nice ombre going on. I might add a touch more actually. I just feel that line just stops suddenly and I don't like that. So place my bead, flip the brush, and then just go back. Right, that's better. So whilst you might think I've covered a lot of that glitter, you can still see it just poking through, and that's the look I wanted to go for. This is the sort of thing you could do with a soft white as well, so like Wonder White or something. And now let's just finish this nail. I always like to blend my beads back to each other, so flipping the brush back so that got nice blends between beads, no lumpy bumpers or anything. Just going to wet my brush slightly, just give it a bit of clean, and then I'm just going to, there we go. Just need a touch more at the tip, sorry, it's just fading out a little bit right at the tip. Just didn't have enough product on my brush. Okay. And now I'm going to do exactly the same on the index finger, and instead of waffling through this one, I'll just shut up. Okay, so that is all of Tabitha applied. I am going to put the lid on her because I don't like to knock into it. Now we're going to finish off the middle two nails and finish off these ombres using blush. So first bead, I'm going to pop where Tabitha finishes. Just make sure it's from sidewall to sidewall, and then we're gonna just pull it down the nail like so. Oh, I think that's glitter, which is irritating, but not the end of the world. Right, so now I just need to tidy that back up because I've gone into it. So what I'll do now is pick up another bead, place it on the back of that, just tap the back, and then blend down and just blend back where I'm not fully happy with that. Ooh. Right, let's turn my paper towel over. I'm probably picking up some glitter off of that. Now let's do our cuticle bead. And don't forget, we can still pull any product down the nail, so neaten up that blend if I feel I need to. So, cuticle bead. So we're going to get the brush behind it and then pull it down one side. We're going to get the brush behind it and pull it down the other side. Let's check that. Try not to put my finger in it, but and then I'm going to just bring the front of the bead down as part of my ombre. Okay. So blush is a core powder. So what I can do when I come to encapsulate this, because what I want to do is make sure that blend is nicely encapsulated, because I've got enough at the cuticle really. I can start my clear sort of here, blend it back slightly so that I've still got my apex, and so I encapsulate the blend and the Tabitha where I've not got the strength or the thickness. Just going to add a little touch more because it's blending down more in the middle than at the side, so I just want to make sure I've got a nice even blend. There we go. Better. I'm happy with that. I'm going to do the same on the middle finger. So again, I'm placing that bead on the back of my Tabitha blend. Just make sure the back is sort of pressed down, otherwise you're going to end up with a bit of a line and a lump. And then we're going to pull the front of the bead down the nail and can pat it down where I need to, and just continue to bring that blush down as part of the ombre. Tap that side in slightly, tap that side in. Okay. I just had that horrible feeling that I had not clicked film. If I hadn't, it'd be pointless saying that. Now we're going to do the cuticle bead. So I'm placing that just on top. And now we're going to tip the nail and get the brush behind it and just push any product back towards the cuticle. Make sure it's nice and neat. You can sort of stand your brush up to get round to tidy it. And then I'm going to pull down one side. I already pulled down the other side. And then the rest we're going to pull down in the middle. And where I wanted to flatten it out, I'm using the belly of the brush. Where I was wanting to tuck it in, I'm using the tip of the brush. And where I'm wanting to feather that front of the product, I'm also using the tip of the brush. So for different parts of the design, I'm using different parts of the brush, but ultimately using all of the brush. So that is the base of this design. As I said, I'm going to add some Tabitha gel polish on the top, and we're going to add some of the fairy dust, but I now need to encapsulate this set. So we're going to put our apex in, we're going to make sure I've got all of the correct structure to the nail, so make sure all of the colour and the glitter is encapsulated so I don't file it away. And then I file the nails to shape, so I'll neaten up the side walls and the free edge, and then refine and smooth out the surface of the nail, ready to finish them off. So Really, in theory, I will be back in a little while, but by the power of editing, here we go. So this design is now all freshly filed. I'd forgotten how much I love doing long nails and just how fabulous they look when they're all filed and finished. And I'm loving how this one looks. It's a really simple design. So something like this I think would be really nice for prom or bridal, sort of spring brides. You know, it's a really subtle and simple design, and I'm loving using the colours from the First to Bloom collection, which is what Tabitha is part of, as an alternative to white. You could leave this design as it is. You could add in a little bit of bling on these two nails. I am going to add a little bit of detail now using the Tabitha gel polish, so the matching gel polish of Colour of the Week, and the Tinkerbell fairy dusts from the glitters of the week. So first of all, I'm going to top coat all of these nails because I want this to be on top of the top coat. You could do it as a matte nail, but I'm going to do them all as shiny nails just because that is me. I'm very funny about when I like a matte nail, and ultimately if I have to choose, I'm always going to go for shiny. So long nail takes a little bit more top coating. I've given them a good clean as always, so that gets rid of any little bits of filing dust that may be sort of stuck around the nail, around the cuticle, even underneath the nail, because we don't want that to become trapped in our top coat. I also give them a clean because any oils that might be on my fingers, or even the client's fingers if they've touched the nails, we want to get rid of anything that will affect the adhesion of the top coat. So we've got a perfect nail for top coating. No little bits that are going to get stuck in it, and no oils that's going to, just noticed a little bit of fluff in that one as well. So just going to finish off top coating these mega long nails. I'm also using a top coat bottle that is probably only about a third full now, so a lot of tipping the bottle to try and get my brush fully filled with top coat. Ooh. I tend to check the nail as well before I pop it back in the lamp, or pop it in the lamp just to make sure that the top coat is covering the entire nail, and to get rid of any little hairs or fluff or anything that may have settled in the top coat. Filed away some of the design there, that was silly of me. I apologise if you can hear my nephew. He is watching Formula 1, I think. No clue where his enjoyment of Formula 1 has come from, because no one in this house watches it. Probably his dad. Right, so they are all top coated, so we're going to cure now for 60 seconds and then we'll finish off the design. So while that is curing, I'm going to pop a little bit of Tabitha out on my palette. I'm not quite sure how much I'm going to need, so I'll just pop a little bit more. I've got my little glitter catch tray and Tinkerbell fairy dust, and I'm going to be using my double-ended Addison and Avery brush. I'm going to use Addison for this, which is the stripy brush. And now I'm going to do my design. So what I've decided I'm going to do is something I've seen in other designs, sort of when scrolling through Instagram and just looking at designs, which I do like to do. It's great for getting inspiration as well. And I've seen this done in a few designs. I apologise that off the top of my head I'm not 100% sure who the original design was by. As I said, I've seen it a few times, so it could be different nail artists as well. But I will always credit if I know who the inspiration was by. But as I'm not 100% sure, I am just telling you that this is a design idea that I've seen on Instagram. So I've started sort of down the nail roughly where we get to sort of the finger. Always even it out if I need to. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of outlined the nail at the free edge, so coming right down to sort of roughly where the finger itself is, and then right round to the free edge. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add in sort of a smile line, and then I'm just going to thicken up the line in places where I sort of feel I want to. Now this is probably something that would work better with an art gel than a gel polish, but I wanted to use the colour of the week gel polish. So I'm just going to give it a slightly rounder . And then I'm just going to go back and neaten that up. Now let's pop the palette and the brush out of the way. Now I'm going to cover the nail, or cover that gel, should I say, in fairy dust. So let's come down on that. make sure it's nice and covered. Then I'm going to pop that into cure, and we're going to do the same on the other nail, but I'm going to do that off camera just for ease. Okay, we give it a really good wipe off, or even a really good brush off. Now, the fairy dusts are really, really, really fine glitters, so there is minimal texture left on the nail. However, if you or your client or whoever you're doing a set on is not a fan of a textured finish, then you could always go in and top coat just to get rid of that slightly textured feel. But like I said, with this it is minimal. Now also, because this is a practice hand, I've not worried too much, but I wouldn't normally use a gel polish or something with a tacky finish when doing a sugaring effect. So it's a little bit of a faffy thing, but if you were doing this on a person, I would probably paint on the design with the gel polish if I was looking to use a specific colour like I am here. If I didn't want to use the matching gel polish, I would have picked out one of my my art gels in a similar colour. But if you want to do it in a gel polish, I would paint on the design, cure it, and then go over it in a top coat and then sprinkle on into the wet top coat, so you've got a tack free finish. But just for the sake of this design and it, you know, being on a practice hand, I've not worried too much about that. So that is the finished design. Second video of the day done, and that has introduced our colour of the week in gel polish and acrylic, and also our glitters of the week. So stay tuned, because I will have more videos coming throughout the week. I do also have an extra special one coming on Friday, which doesn't include either the glitter or the colour of the week, but it is a very special design. Make sure you check out my Instagram or Facebook, because I have many designs coming over the course of the week, sharing designs using the glitter and the colour of the week. But that is it for my 2 videos today. So please give this video a thumbs up and click that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments what you think of this design and which one's your favourite of the 2 I have shared today. Check out the description box, because I will pop all the product links in there. They're all from the nail team, and don't forget, on full price products you can use Helen 5 for a 5% discount. The glitters and the colours of the week are already reduced, so you don't need my code for those, but anything else that is at full price you can use that code on. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back in a couple of days with another video. Bye. Mwah.